Usually this is where I come up with some pithy little one-liner that'll send you into the intro, that'll send you into the rest of the review. I don't even have one tonight, but what I will start out with is if you didn't see NXT tonight, if you didn't see tonight's main event, if you didn't see title versus title, Pete Dunne versus Ricochet, stop the video, pause the video, go back and watch the show, at least go back and watch that match, and then come back. And here's the intro. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your September 19th NXT review. A lot of things to do, a lot of house cleaning before we get into anything tonight. First of all, want to send a quick shout out to Good Mic Work and OKFabe. Reason for it being simply this: you guys know I'm a small channel. I don't do this as a job. I don't do it for money. I do it for fun. Basically, this is a hobby. This is an outlet for me. So I don't have the most gigantic sub count in the world. A while ago, I broke 800 subs, which again, by the big standards, isn't very much. For me, I'm quite happy with it because I'm quite happy that 800 potential people might want to hear what I have to say. But, you know, YouTube being what it is, I took a drastic cut in that, and it went back by about 30 or 40. I've been, you know, scraping and clawing one subscriber at a time ever since. In the past week, I just hit over those last 10 or 11 subs that I needed to get back over 800 again. So I'm sitting at about 802 right now. Third time I'm going to say it. Yes, I know that's not very much, but it's enough to make me happy. I know a couple people specifically have DM'd me, etc., saying interactions on the streams that OKFabe does, and interactions on the streams that Good Mic Work does, is how they found me. I know anytime I even poke my head in for a second to one of Good Mic Work streams, the very first thing is, hey Spaz, how's it going? Everybody go check out Spaz. A little more interactive on OKFabe's stream, just because he's somebody that I happen to have spoken to personally, and he's actually done some stuff on this channel with me if you go back far enough. Originally, the tackle videos that Black Cat Feline and Guapo and I do originally started as a concept with myself and Connor, so I am a little more interactive on his streams. Bottom line being, I got a big handful of subs from both of those streams, so thank you to both of those guys for helping me out in the little ways that they have. Second of all, we had Hell in the Cell this past weekend. Let's talk about that red cell. No, let's not talk about the red cell. Let's talk about the pay-per-view pick 'em. Let's talk about the biggest rivalry in the YWC between my co-host Kristen and Mr. Mizark 10. Would she get one up on him this time? Would we even come close to balancing the scales as they were? Yeah, no. I got 15, because of course it's my game. I can't win. Melvin World Entertainment also got 15. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Brock Bringer, B-R-I-N-G-E-R, got 18. My buddy Guapo got 19. Black Cat Feline got 21, as did Fortune 4 Shooters. And for the 6th time this year, with a total score of 28, Mizark 10 is your winner for the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view pick'em. Now, I will say, the top half of this field, yes, it's only 7 people that decided to play along this time, but the top half of this field was literally decided by the, well, by a couple of good picks, obviously. But it was decided by the bonus questions and the interactive Twitter type bonuses and all that sort of thing. And what I will say, as much as you might think this makes me sound like a douche, I'm not going to explain those anymore. You guys know the layout of the show by now. You guys know the layout of the pay-per-view pick'em by now. Let's do all the picks, da-da-da-da. Here's how the Twitter bonus is going to work this year. Here's your bonus questions, etc. If you miss it, or if you don't understand it, whatever, go back and listen. If you still don't, then message me and be like, hey, I listened to it. This is what you said, Spaz. How come it doesn't make any sense? We'll work something out. But just if you're playing, obviously I assume you guys are watching the videos. I hope that doesn't make me sound like too much of a dick, but whatever. Controversial stuff I put on Twitter that's gotten me a lot of heat, so I want to greatly explain what I said on Twitter. I don't usually do this, but I have an overwhelming feeling that people misunderstand me on Twitter, or purposely misunderstand me on Twitter. The show that was announced in Saudi Arabia is I'm assuming going to be another all-male show. And I made a whole bunch of jokes about balance and whatever in the WWE. Now, I know that there's some crappy stuff that happens in Saudi Arabia. There's some very, very one-sided stuff, some things over there that would be seen as extremely heinous by anybody here up in the North American side of the world. I am not in support of any of that. What I will literally say to you is, as far as, you know, evolution is this, and, you know, the women's rights thing is this, and, you know, what's happening in Saudi Arabia, obviously you get an all-male show. All I meant by that, let me explain it to you. When I say that WWE is in complete balance, Raw has men and women, SmackDown has men and women, NXT has men and women, the forthcoming NXT UK brand has men and women. The Mae Young Classic has just women. 205 Live has just men. One for each. Evolution has just women. Crown Jewel has just men. One for each. And all the other pay-per-views have both men and women. That is all I meant by saying that WWE is actually in complete balance right now. And by the way, I do mean that that is a right now thing. I know that there's already been one Saudi Arabia show, so yes, technically there's been 2 all-male shows. But, again, dealing with the current situation that we're in. So anybody legitimately offended by a misinterpretation of what I put out on social media today / yesterday, I'm sorry. For those of you that didn't quite understand what I was trying to say, that is what I was trying to say. For those of you, and you know who you are, Abby Felicity 1, I think I'm looking at you, but you're still my friend, you're still my buddy, you're one of the most passionate tweeters out there, even though you're wrong most of the time. Any of you that are just out there too twisted into something that is arguable can fuck off. I mean, it's like my reaction to the Lacey Evans thing, which we're going to talk about in a second. Yeah, we're going to give her a finisher called the women's right, and then after we do that, we can't really have her take a loss, which is bullshit. But yeah, like it or not, WWE actually, as funny as it is completely in balance. At me. Comment section down below. Started off tonight's show with Dakota Kai and Deonna Purrazzo taking on Lacey Evans and Aaliyah. Now, this was 3/4 of a good match. Dakota Kai's great, Deonna Purrazzo's great, Aaliyah's great, that's my hometown girl, and she got stuck with Lacey Evans as a tag team partner. I got somebody coming at me on Twitter for that too. Now let me say once again, I am not saying that Lacey Evans can't wrestle. I am saying that her finisher sucks. I'm saying that her character sucks. I'm saying that the fact that they called it the women's right because it's 2018 and that's what we do, it sucks. It's very, very similar to my problems with Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair is a fantastic wrestler, as we saw last week, as we're going to talk about later on. Lacey Evans is competent in the ring. She's nothing exciting to watch as far as I'm concerned. But there's that whole either you're a 1 or you're a 10 mentality. I think Lacey Evans is like a 6 or a 7, whatever. But don't at me on Twitter because I said somebody was a 6 instead of a 10 and treat me like I say they were a 1. If they were a 1, they wouldn't be in NXT. They'd probably be on Raw. Let's be real for a second. Anyways, let's talk about this clusterfuck of a match and how I feel about it. Deonna Purrazzo and Lacey Evans start the match. Deonna works the arm and a trip and a side headlock by Purrazzo. Evans, why are we beeping? Why is this a thing? Evans attempts a head scissor. Deonna head stands out, which made me laugh a lot, not gonna lie. Boot by Evans, boot by Aaliyah, and a kick to the spine. Inverted dragon screw and a high knee by Deonna Purrazzo. Low kick by Dakota Kai and an arm wringer by Deonna. Evans does some sort of weird grab you by the hair, pull you around the ring, salute because we got to do the army gimmick. Not a shot at the legitimate army, just a shot at her using her legitimate army experience as a gimmick. But she sort of pulls her around the ring and does the weird salute thing. Purrazzo responds with some really nice stiff chops that make me smile. Awkward Bronco Buster by Evans, because that's what she does. Aaliyah rides a headlock and turns it into a choke on the ropes. Overhead keylock by Aaliyah and a mule kick by Deonna. Hot tag to Dakota Kai, aka Bailey done properly, who gets a series of forearms and 2 haluva kicks before eating the bullshit women's right punch by Lacey Evans. And like I said before, because it's called the women's right, she can't lose with it because then WWE's bad, apparently. The heels win. What I can take from this is we got a lot of really good in-ring action from Deonna Purrazzo, who's still in the Mae Young Classic, which we're going to talk about later on. Dakota Kai, I don't think, what the fuck, did she or didn't she? Dakota Kai did eat the pin. That kind of sucks. I like Dakota Kai. I hope she does something soon. And if I really want to grasp at straws and find something positive out of all this, my hometown girl Aaliyah was on the winning team despite her tag team partner being a bit shit. Oh yes. We've got a series of backstage segments after this. We see the Street Profits on a handy cam. They've just finished on the basketball court, and whoever's videotaping them says, hey, you know, the last match you lost because somebody was playing with your chains at ringside. Why would you care about that? They're just chains. And I thought this was going to be a really cheesy thing. Oh, you got to have style, you got to bling it up and all that. But it really wasn't. They really went on to say how their chains and their jewelry, etc., symbolize, like, you know, the fact that they came from nothing and now they've achieved success. You know, they can have these things now because of this success that they've worked for. And it was probably like a throwaway interview, but if you really take a second look at it, it was probably one of the better, more thought out things that they've done with the Street Profits, because the Street Profits are usually seen as really, really good in the ring and a really, really happy, fun time gimmick, but not, you know, doing anything that deep. And it wasn't so deep that it became cheesy. It just worked. And I don't know whether anybody's going to agree with me or that or not. I mean, I don't know whether anybody's going to agree with anything I've said so far tonight. But I really liked it. I think that promo did more good for them than the WWE initially thought, if I'm completely honest with you. We have Dream in the back talking about Johnny Loser, and then somebody asked him about the assault on Aleister Black, because apparently that is still a thing that's happening, the investigation of that. Basically, he goes all diva on them and says, wait a minute, you have the chance to talk to one of the most exciting people in NXT, and you ask him about something else? Bye. And he goes, and he leaves, and it's all good. We see a replay of last week, Nikki Cross, Bianca Belair, the main event that ended in a draw, which was an amazing match. Obviously an amazing showcase of Nikki Cross, who you guys know I'm a big fan of. But also, you guys know I have my very mixed feeling of Bianca Belair. Her gimmick is trash in the ring. She's awesome. But unfortunately, they followed this up with somebody giving her a mic in the backstage thing, and she just does the whole, I'm undefeated. We're clapping along like 5-year-olds in kindergarten. Let her do her awesome shit in the ring. And I have a feeling if I sat down and thought about this for a while, a whole lot of people would fall into this category. Let them just do their awesome shit in the ring and not try to do this, because she's trying to come off as clever, and you got somebody that's really good in the ring, and then in the back they're cutting promos that are only slightly better than Naomi. It doesn't connect. The mic work that she does and the character that they have her trying to portray with the hair whip and the EST, STD of NXT thing, it doesn't suit the amazing athlete she is in the ring. Please give her a character that suits the character that, or suits the talent that I see in the ring. In the ring, I want her to succeed, but her succeeding is going to mean seeing more of that character, and I don't need that. I really, really don't. So please, once again, feel free to tell me how wrong I am in the comment section. Jackson Riker from the Forgotten Sons had his debut tonight against Humberto Carrillo. Sorry, Humberto Carrillo. I'm sorry, it's like doing the Mae Young Classic. If it's names I'm not familiar with, I will usually botch them. I apologize in advance. They do give us a bit of context for him, though. Mauro Ranallo on commentary says, for anybody that remembers WCW, this guy is the nephew of Hector Garza, so that's a nice little thing. He gets one move in the whole match, which is fine. Clearly, it's a match to get over what Jackson Riker can do in the ring, and anybody that remembers Gunner from TNA knows what he can do in the ring. He tosses him across the ring to start the match, puts him in a collar and elbow tie-up, and instead of like actually trying to like transition out of the collar and elbow tie-up, takes him from the collar and elbow tie-up and face plants him into the mat. Mudhole by Riker, a lariat, and he starts raking his face along the mat. Just like, I'm a mean person, watch how I go. Hard Irish whip by Riker. Carrillo gets a boot in, and that's about it, because he goes for a springboard something. Almost, I will say, sorry guys, I'm still getting used to the new glasses, even though it's been a couple of weeks. He goes for a springboard. It almost looks like he's going for a phenomenal forearm, but he's met with a double axe handle to the face by Riker, who then hits him with an absolutely gorgeous slingshot powerbomb for the win. I like that these guys, you know, they sort of have this sort of like outcast, you know, dregs of society type of gimmick with their faction, but it doesn't look like they're going to be overtly heel, because he was out there on his own for his debut. So if that's an indication of things to come, then okay. William Regal's investigation continues in the back, and like I say, we're getting some cool other stuff out of the investigation, but I've said it before, I've been saying it for weeks, I'm going to say it again. NXT caters to the smart mark crowd. They cater to the people that are on the internet. They cater to the people that are reading the dirt sheets that know that Aleister Black is just out because he's legitimately injured. They, of anybody, know that this investigation is just a plot device. And yes, we need stories to get us where we need to go in wrestling, but it's an overplayed concept that I wouldn't expect in NXT, and I keep saying it, and people keep telling me that I'm wrong, and that's fine. I'm not like most of the douchebags here in the YWC. You're fully welcome to disagree with me. It's fine. It's just how I see it. It is a bit cliche and a bit over the top. But anyways, this week he's there with his little lawyer, with the little bald lawyer dude that never actually says anything other than thanks for coming in. He's interviewing Candice LeRae, who says that she was with Cassius Ohno and Kairi Sane, and they didn't see anything, and rah. She tries to imply Ciampa, but Regal says, hey, we've already investigated Ciampa. Evidence points to him being several other places, not where the attack happened, but then he turns it around on her and says, well, where was your husband? And she said, well, yeah, he met me after he was done in the Performance Center, so... See, here, the sad thing about this is, like, I don't really want to see a match between... I don't want to see Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano again. I really don't, because they're going to make it as, like, Johnny Gargano's this crazy heel. I don't want to see Aleister Black versus Cassius Ohno, who's the other one that's kind of turned heel right now, because I really don't want to see a Cassius Ohno match. I really don't care. I don't see at this point. I have nothing against Aleister Black. Please let me put my foot down on the ground and be very clear. I don't have any problem with Aleister Black, but I don't see any combination or any result coming out of this that's going to be a match that I'm interested in. Now, that's not against anybody involved unless you're Cassius Ohno, but whatever. It's not like we're going to have Aleister Black versus Candice LeRae, is it? We see a video package for Ricochet versus Pete Dunne, which is our main event here tonight. We replay Sullivan's attack of EC3 last week, which is once again EC3. Awesome. I'm happy he's in NXT. I could see him doing much better things than dealing with Lars Sullivan, but it is what it is. Also, next week we're going to see Tommaso Ciampa versus Otis Dozovic for reasons. Now, we have the main event. We have the North American Champion versus the WWE United Kingdom Champion. Side note, I want you guys to put it all down in the box below. Because they're starting the NXT UK brand, how long before they rebrand that title as the NXT UK Championship? Because right now, it's still the WWE United Kingdom Championship. And we've seen the photos out there of the NXT UK Women's Championship. It's basically the same. It's on a white strap. The WWE logo has been replaced by the NXT logo. I'm not going to spoil who the champion is. I have opinions that will wait until later, but whatever. I do like the fact all night that they were hyping up that this was a champion versus champion match, and when they did the graphic for it, like, this is for the US or the North American title, or this is for the UK title, they merged the two belts into one graphic, and it's a little thing, but it's an attention to detail that I really, really liked. Right from the beginning of the match, you had dueling one and only bruiserweight chants, which were really, really great, and my light is flashing at me. I don't know why that's a thing, but we're going to rectify that, and we're going to be right back. Technology continues to be the bane of my existence. Oh, yes. At least it did it before I started talking about the match. I talked about the dual championship graphic, which I thought was cool. I talked about the dueling one and only bruiserweight chants. These chants did not subside. Occasionally they transferred into an NXT chant or a both these guys chant or this is awesome chant, but really it was one and only bruiserweight Ricochet. There's no really good way to chant the name Pete Dunne unless you do the Pete Dunne, Pete Dunne. But I don't think they're going to do that, so they chanted. Mauro Ranallo even said at one point that it was very ironic that the bruiserweight and Ricochet chants were melding into each other. That's how good the match was. But let's get down to it. I tried to take notes for this, I really did. This was a long match, it was a good match, and I was more into the match than I was into my notes, so you'll excuse me if there's a little bit of lacking detail in the notes. I'm going to say that in advance, and I apologize for anybody that's pissed off by that. But, losing my voice, one thing that my camera being a fucker did was it allowed me to get another drink, so. And yes, I still like using curly straws, because Gotta have fun sometime. Anyways, collar and elbow tie-up to start, an arm drag by Ricochet, and they trade head scissor attempts for the beginning of the match. Collar and elbow tie-up, and Ricochet works the arm, and here we get into a long sequence right at the beginning of the match, and it's purely submission wrestling. And Nigel McGuinness makes an excellent point on commentary where he says that why is Ricochet trying so much submission wrestling when he's known as a high flyer. Mauro Ranallo quickly coming back with the, it's sort of standard, but like, hey, maybe he wants to beat Pete Dunne at his own game, which is really good. Dunne begins working the arm, the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, the fingers, the UK-style joint manipulation that you guys know I love, because it's so visceral. It's like people say about Jeff Hardy and the ear spot, and let's just take a second to remember that screwdriver spot at Hell in the Cell and how weird that was. But it's like that. It's a little bit more of a visceral thing. It's a little bit more of a watching it type thing. It's good. Knuckle lock by Dunne, who leg drops the arm repeatedly. Chin and arm lock by Ricochet transitions into a single leg Boston Crab. Indian deathlock by Ricochet, which Dunne reverses into an Indian deathlock of his own. Ricochet reverses it into a key lock, and then it gets reversed again into an inverted figure 4 by Dunne. Surfboard submission with a knuckle lock included by Dunne. High knee by Ricochet breaks up that entire chain of submission wrestling, and Pete Dunne basically responds with, okay, you don't want to submission wrestle anymore? Here, have a forearm to the face. And then he gets met instantly with chops by Ricochet, and they chop the fuck out of each other for a while. Both men trade strikes, head scissor by Ricochet. Suicide dive up the ramp by Ricochet. Ricochet with a suicide dive, he gets some distance on there. I mean, I know we had that spot where he was trying to get in Velveteen Dream's face and he did the flip and he landed right in front of him, and it was all very good and everybody gave him the nice little golf clap. But Ricochet really does get some height and some length on those suicide dives. I think that's why he will only do them up the rampway. I mean, most people do, but that's another story for another day. Dunne blocks a head scissor into an ankle lock. He goes for the standing head scissor and he just sort of blocks him, puts him in a toe and ankle lock, and it's just great. It's what you would do if somebody came at you feet first. You would grab their feet right out of the air if you had the ability to do so. So it's good. Series of kicks by Dunne in a modified single leg submission. Dunne works the fingers, the wrist, the shoulder. Once again, dueling forearms versus dueling kicks, and a lariat by Ricochet. Corner uppercut by Ricochet, followed by a corner forearm, and an around the corner 619. Step up ensiguri by Dunne, but the X-Plex fails. Running star press to the back by Ricochet. Cross arm breaker by Dunne, who stands on the hands. Knee lift by Ricochet, and a mid-air forearm by Dunne. X-Plex successfully by Dunne. Ensiguri by Ricochet. He ensiguris Pete Dunne right out of the ring. Forearm on the outside, apron X-Plex by Dunne, poison Hurricane Rana by Ricochet, and here's where we get into the final stretch, and it's just, let's pull out all the guns. Apron X-Plex by Dunne, poison Hurricane by Ricochet, Dunne stomps on both hands and then hits him with an enziguri, super kick by Ricochet, counter enziguri by Dunne, lariat by Dunne, handspring tornado DDT by Ricochet, springboard top rope Hurricane Rana by Ricochet, mic check by Ricochet, triangle choke by Dunne, insane one-armed powerbomb out of the triangle choke by Ricochet. Dunne locks in a key lock with the fingers, deadlift brainbuster DDT by Ricochet, and at this point both men are laid out. Both men can barely get to their knees, let alone their feet. They're basically in a sitting position in the middle of the ring, slugging each other with the little bit that they have left, and the goddamn Undisputed Era come down for a 2-second 3-on-2 beatdown, and then they quickly get chased off by the War Raiders. It's not... Undisputed Era aren't even the point. The point is, you couldn't have a winner in this match because it was title versus title. And one of the things they drove home on commentary was, you know, how would the US feel about the North American title going with this British guy? Oh, well, how would the new NXT UK brand feel about this American guy holding their title? And I think at one point Nigel McGuinness called us all Yanks. And I say us all because Canada is part of North America as well. This was a genuine piss-off, and it works so much better than on the main roster, because let's just think about this for a second. Let's just say Daniel Bryan and Andrade Cien Almas are going to have a #1 contenders match. Winner's going to go to Australia and face AJ Styles, and it's going to be fantastic. Well, what's going to happen? Two things are going to happen. Samoa Joe's going to go and run in because he wants to make sure he's the only one that gets a shot at AJ Styles, and The Miz is probably going to run in just to fuck with Daniel Bryan some more. A, it would be predictable. B, it would be like, okay, it's an episode of Raw or SmackDown. I don't really care. Let's have the paint by numbers you know, bring it down and whatever. Also, if it was on SmackDown or Raw, it would be a SmackDown or Raw level match, which this wasn't. This match was so fucking good. This is why I wanted these guys to fight for one title or the other, and just whatever title was being fought for, that champion would obviously win to keep the status quo. But this match was so good that the interference by the Undisputed Era genuinely pissed you off, which is a great thing, because it means the two of them are going to go beat the fuck out of the three members of the Undisputed Era and leave them laying for the War Raiders, which is fine, and it's all good, but what really matters, that the little interruption by them isn't even a factor. Like, they go in, they make themselves known for a couple of seconds just to get that double DQ, and they're gone again. Like, they're not even a factor in the end of this. What is the factor in the end of all this is both guys in their respective corners being handed their belts, sort of walking around the ring, staring at each other. Both of them have all been beaten to fuck. And the image that you're left with, I'm sorry, I'm sort of losing my words at the end here, the image you're left with is these two guys that probably respect the hell out of each other, that are probably both equally pissed that they didn't get to have a winner, staring each other down as the crowd goes, as the show goes off the air, with the crowd chanting both these guys. This was fucking phenomenal. This should have been on a pay-per-view. You know, let alone the tag match that started off tonight with Lacey Evans being there when she doesn't need to be. Jackson Riker having a cool debut. A lot of backstage segments. A lot of, I guess, what you could call filler, because there was only really 3 matches on here tonight. But, I mean, half the show was this match, and half the show deserved to be this match. And if you haven't watched this match, what the fuck is wrong with you? Go and watch this match. There's really nothing else I can say here. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.